and welcome back to Life with Mrs. Busy Bee. So you've obviously forgiven me for disappearing. I am actually recording this like 5 minutes after the last video. But today I'm going to tell you about my labor and delivery story. So he was due the 12th of November and born the 21st of November. I had mentioned it, I believe, in my last video, that at 36 weeks, when my doctor checked to see if he was head down, he was distinctly not. He was, so this is the middle of my stomach. His butt was here, his head was down here, his feet were over here somewhere. And so he was, they call it transverse, which basically means they are sideways to some sort of degree. He was almost breech, but not quite, which was actually much more dangerous than if he was breech, because if my water had broken while he was either not breech or not head down, then there was a possibility of his umbilical cord coming out, but then him sliding down and getting that cord stuck, pinching it between my pelvis and him, which would essentially suffocate him. So that was terrifying to hear at 36 weeks pregnant, to know that your child is quite possibly in pretty grave danger if my water were to break. So if my water broke, or if I had any contractions at all, and I didn't have any breakfast effects, like, at all. Don't pull on the cat. No. Here, have a sheep. Have a sheepy. Have a sheepy. Sorry. I've got a little 9-month-old over there that gets into and onto and throughout everything. So yeah, 36 weeks pregnant. We scheduled, so my weeks turned over on Sundays. I think I found that out on Tuesday, I believe. I have my cord card somewhere. I didn't bother, I don't feel like taking it out. We scheduled an appointment for that following Saturday morning to go into the hospital to have my doctor physically turn him. Okay. Hi! Hi, Mr. Man! And yes, hello! Yeah, you got to see a good shot of that red hair right there. Red-haired baby! Red-haired baby! Red hair! Blue eyes, red hair. So we went in. She tries it 2 to 3 times, depending on how mom and baby are handling it. We both handled it beautifully, so we tried 3 times. He refused to turn out, they even turned an inch. So that was fun. She, I guess before she left, scheduled for my C-section to be on the 16th. And then we went back in at 37 weeks for my appointment, and we just went straight basically into the ultrasound room so that she could confirm that he was still transverse. And so she's talking to my husband and I about how the C-section is going to happen, what we can expect. The hospital that I went to can do gentle C-sections, which basically there is a plastic film in the sheet between that blocks mom's sight, that mom can view the birth from, and she's in the middle of telling this, and she's like, and he sat down. Again. Did you feel him turn? No. I never once felt him turn. I think that's partially to do with the fact that I had an anterior placenta, which basically means that instead of my placenta being against my back, it was against my belly button. So it reduced how much I could feel him. It didn't affect anything else. Which, considering that I could feel him starting at 13 weeks, cat. I made that surprising. So she went and immediately rescheduled my C-section. She canceled that. And we are back to plan A. Awesome. Loved it. I had scheduled an appointment for 38 weeks, like Tuesday. She was in the hospital with another mom. I had to reschedule for like for Friday. It was on Friday. And again, in the hospital with another mom, rescheduled for 39 weeks. Yeah. So I saw her, and he was transverse again. Opposite side, same position, basically. So, we scheduled, which, by the way, that appointment was on November 16th. Scheduled the C-section for the next day on the 17th, which was funny because originally when we were like, okay, we're going to have to do a C-section, end of story, I was really hoping I'd be able to talk her into doing it on 11/17, which would have put me at 39 plus 2, I think it was. Because I got my weight turned over on. You're okay. Sunday. So we're just scheduled for Monday. It would have been scheduled for Tuesday. That was what I was hoping for. So when on the 16th we went in and we was like, okay, no, we're gonna have to do a C-section tomorrow. I was like, oh, look, 11/17/17. I love that date. I'm approving this date. I got married on 6/9/12. I have a thing for numbers. He's tired. I've seen another half hour for you, Bug. It's almost 7 o'clock. Bedtime is 8. I'll do 7:30. Oh, you heard that. Hi. So we went in with bags packed, everything ready to go, and they confirmed it like 4 times, so let's head down. So, change of plans, they decided to induce, and I was in there for a day and a half, being given a variety of induction meds, to thin, and soften my cervix, because I dilated it maybe a 2, again, I didn't have any Braxton Hicks. None, period, ever. None. So they gave me induction meds, which did get some contractions going. I don't think I ever hit a 5 on the pain scale. It did soften things a little bit. I dilated to maybe a 3. Day and a half later, he stayed the head down the entire time. They kept checking to make sure, wanted to confirm. And then it hit a point where they were about to do a nurse shift for a night shift, and they told me since nothing was going on, they had a lot of moms in the hospital, they were sending me home because he was doing fine, I was doing fine, nothing was going anywhere, my body clearly wasn't ready for this. Everything was good. No need for anything. So, they packed me up. Because I was hooked up to a monitor the entire time, because when they give you medications, you have to be hooked up to a monitor. Just flat out. Sent home, had been in early labor for about a day and a half, and was sent home still having some minor residual contractions, which, oh, having a contraction in the car, I don't care how painful those things are when you're allowed to move around, when you're stuck sitting in the car, sitting, can't move, suck. I hate it. It was the worst part about being induced, was the fact that, you know, I couldn't do anything for the pain. That sucked. So I had scheduled an appointment for, we had scheduled an appointment for my 40 weeks, just in case things happened to turn out like they did. I had scheduled it for a couple days prior. My doctor was out on vacation that week. So I went in on Tuesday, I think it was. The 40 weeks saw one of the nurse practitioners, I believe, because the other doctor, I think, was out on maternity leave. But she'd been trained in My Little Jailbird. He loves doing this, guys. It's so cute. And, oh, he's on the door. Okay. So I saw her, and she did a membrane sweep. They did one at the hospital as well before I left, which, by the way, when you've been induced for a day and a half, your cervix is really, really freaking raw. Getting a membrane sweep was the most painful thing ever of that hospital trip. The most painful part. There we go. He loves to stand there and shake it. My little jailbird. So I went in, she did the membrane sweep. She's like, I have a good chance of Mom's sending them into labor. I think she did that like twice already that week. But he was stubborn. We'd scheduled an appointment for that Friday. Honestly, I have actually let's just check on him. Just in case it didn't send me into labor, which it didn't. There's someone at my door. Back, sorry. So anyway, I went into my appointment on Friday. She did another membrane sweep, and then called the hospital to schedule another induction. Just with his history on the last few weeks of my pregnancy, they decided they didn't really want to let me go into labor on my own, though he was head down. Or rather, they didn't want me to go too much longer. So they had me go in at exactly 41 weeks, the evening of Sunday night, on the 19th. I only knew that because I was for 2 days, whatever you want to call it. This is like 2 days before I had him. So they had me go in Sunday night. Weirdly enough, at nurse shift change. I don't know who might thought that would be a brilliant idea. Why couldn't I have gone in at 8 o'clock after the shift had happened instead of 7 o'clock? But whatever. So they had me go in, and like before, the only time I was ever in this triage room was when they had tried to shift him around. Other times I was taken straight into the room. They took me back. They started me, they gave me Cervidil, which I think they gave me the first time too. It's a little thing, it's kind of like a light tampon. It's got a medication in it. They just stick inside your cervix, and then you just kind of let it do its thing. So I think I ended up in it at like 9 o'clock at night, because they have to do an NST for an hour to make sure that baby's doing good and everything's moving along, seeing if you're having contractions. So I think, did I get to do it that night? I don't remember if we did. I don't think so. So they did that, and that was basically, alright, we're gonna check up on you throughout the night. Let us know if anything happens, but basically, get some rest. Get up for whenever things get gearing up. Get ready. So, I slept pretty well that night. I don't really remember waking up much. I think I did wake up early. Like maybe 5, 6 a.m. And, I was having some contractions, about 2, 3, 4 pains, no, 2 or 3 pain scale. Not much. But things were definitely progressing in a way more than before. Like, it was the same, but it was different, kind of, you know? I maybe look at it if it's different because hindsight. But, so they came in, they checked on me at like 6 a.m. or something. They removed the gauze that the medication was in since it had completely dissolved. And I was still having some minor contractions. Not a whole lot going on, but things were still going on. I don't remember if they gave me another dose after that or what. The morning of that day, like morning, early afternoon, kind of is all hazy for me. I honestly don't remember much. Just because not much really happened. I feel like they might have given me, no, that's right, that morning they came in, they checked on me, nothing much had changed. Though I was having some contractions, so that was definitely a good sign of some sort. The medication was working, that was the important part. And they decided that since nothing really seemed to have changed, other than the fact that I was contracting, which didn't really change, they were going to take a break. You know, they would let me get some breakfast, get some food in me, give me a break, just to kind of relax before we took the next step. So we ordered breakfast and we just kind of hung out and chilled in our room, and you know, just kind of tried to walk a lot, did many laps, but I couldn't do much because they were inducing me. I was pretty much hooked up to an NST 24/7, which is fun for the nurses because he liked to move. Yeah, they would hook it up, and sometimes it'd be 5 minutes later, they'd be back in because he'd moved away from the monitor. The anterior placenta definitely made it more tricky because I couldn't put it center of my belly because they pick up my pulse, not his. So that made things a little trickier. They have to set it to the side of the placenta instead of on top of the stomach like they normally would. Not a big deal. Just made a difference. Made things a little more difficult. So, you know, we had breakfast, and then afterwards they gave me another dose of, I feel like probably Cervidil. I guess they gave me anything. They may not have. I don't remember if they did. No, I think they gave me an oral medication. I don't remember what it was. It was that they gave me the last time too that I was induced. It was some sort of an oral medication. I believe that's what happened. Because I'm like, I don't feel like they did the Cervidil because I didn't take that out of them. No, they did the other one. I don't remember what it's called. It was an oral medication. I could take it either by tablet or have a soft gel, or they can empty it out and there's like 2 tiny pills in there that I can just let dissolve underneath my tongue. Letting it dissolve, obviously, is the faster option. So that's what we ended up doing. He's playing right over there, so I'm looking at him. So I believe that's what we did. And things were going, and lunchtime came around, and I was induced twice, so I'm trying to remember which time was which. Lunchtime came around, and I feel like at that point the doctor had ordered me on a liquids only diet, but because I wasn't really contracting, I fought it. I was like, you know, guys, can I have some real foods? I can't stand soup. I'm not really in the mood for anything really heavy. I just would like something more than soup and Jello. something. They were like, because it was just nurses I was talking to, and they're like, it's doctor's orders, they've been given the medication, we're supposed to only keep you on liquids, which I understand. You know, there's a chance of surgery naturally, so they want to keep you on liquids only diet just in case, you know, anesthesia and stuff. I'm like, you know, I mean, things are progressing enough. He's not turning. He's doing really well. I'm doing really well. You know, there's a meal on here that's, they call it comfort food. It's a light sandwich. It was actually a ton of food. It was like enough food for like 2. It was, a light sandwich, a bowl of soup, a soft serve ice cream, some Jell-O, some juice, and some Sprite. Like, all of this food. It's a crap ton of food. For one person. It was meant for one person. And it was just a comfort food meal. And I was like, you know what, why don't I order this? You know, allow me to order this. It's not heavy. But it is something more than soup and Jell-O, which I don't want. I'm honestly not gonna eat it. So like, sure, you know, go ahead. I mean, we'll talk to the doctor, but that should be fine. So the doctor cleared me, which they needed to do because half an hour, bug. Half an hour till bedtime. In order to allow the kitchens to make the food for me. So I ate that. It was all good. That was really all I was wanting anyway, which is a sign that my body knew that it was about to kick into labor, into active labor. It's really funny how your body works like that. And I decided about 2 o'clock, after we had food, we went for and I let it settle, and we went for a walk, and I spent a lot of time on a bouncy ball, just kind of walking or sitting up, you know, kind of thing. No. Oh, Mommy's not doing this real graceful, like. Cloudy face. Cloudy face. So 2 o'clock, I said, I was still on that cleared diet, on the normal diet, and I'd really been wanting to get a chocolate milkshake. I'd really wanted to order one, but I hadn't done it either time. Sorry, dog. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, so I decided to get a chocolate milkshake, and my husband got some sort of something like that. And we sat down to watch YouTube and just kind of cuddle, and ate literally 2 bites. 2 bites of my milkshake, and my water broke. Yeah. Which is really funny. So this is the funny thing about how your body works. My water broke, but I didn't know it was my water because I just felt this, I can only describe it as a swift kick. I felt the pop, but it felt like a swift kick in the general vicinity of my bladder, and then I feel wet, but it wasn't like a ton. And so I was like, did my water just break, or did I pee myself? Age-old pregnant question. So I stood up, because I was sitting, of course, the one time I'm not sitting on a pee pad, sitting on a pillow, on the hospital pillows, thankfully, on the rocking chair, because those things were, just a hardwood freaking rocking chair. Why is that a smart idea in a hospital? I mean, I guess it's better than a fabric. It's easy to clean. And I checked it, and it was clear, no odd smells. I'm like, okay, maybe I just peed myself. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Just, you know, clear my bladder, because obviously I just had to pee. And he just cleared my bladder. On the toilet, I had 3 contractions. 3. And these ones instantly went from a 3 on the pain scale to a 5. Instant. So I came back out and I was like, okay. I'm still not sure. My water broke. I instantly didn't, literally the instant my water broke, I had no interest in ice cream. None. That's the funny part about how your body works. I was like, can you, I'm putting this aside now, I'm not gonna eat it. So I gave it to my husband, I'm like, here, you can eat it. Eat it for me. Eat it in honor of me. Because I can't eat it anymore. And it got like literally to the point where I couldn't sit through my contractions anymore. I had been for the last, I guess at that point, 18 hours or so. Because this was 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. My water broke. And they checked me. Correction. So it was probably about 3:30 when my water broke. And so I had to get up. I had to be moving when my contractions hit. And the nurse came in when husband and I were actually put it slow dancing. Basically, we were standing up and I was leaning into him and rocking my hips, swaying my hips. It was just what sounded good to get through the contractions, which when you're in labor, you do anything that sounds good. And she comes in and she's like, oh, well, this is a good sign. I'm like, uh-huh. I think my water might have broken. I'm not sure, but I think it might have broken. Actually, my husband told her that because at that point I was in contraction. And she's like, well, okay, because I was about to come in here, and if things hadn't progressed, suggest breaking your water. So just keep an eye out if you leak anymore, because I felt like I peed myself. It wasn't like this massive splash of everything, which doesn't always happen. We rocked some more. I leaked some more, and it was like, okay, my water has most definitely broken. Because I didn't feel like I peed myself. It literally felt like I leaked. So we went out and got the nurse. The nurse came in, she checked me. I was at a 4 at 4 o'clock. I love how that worked out. Made it easy to remember. So I instantly told my husband, I was like, okay, things are getting real now. I'm at a 4. I'm definitely in active labor. This is definitely, like, there is no going back from this. My pain scale's at a 5. I can't, if we were at home, I'd be going to the hospital at this point. So let the family know. I had his sister in the room with me. I had the 2 of them because my husband, I love him to death, is useless for anything other than looking pretty, which is all I needed him for. So, in the delivery room, they were in the delivery room. My sister-in-law was basically my doula. So I told him, you need to call them, text them, because there wasn't enough time in between contractions, because the induction meds had started my contractions basically at 3 to 5 minutes apart. So that's pretty much where they were. And I was like, okay, things are real now. You need to get them down here, because I don't know how long it'll take for them to get down here, and I don't know how long this will take or how fast this will go, but I need your sister here. I don't think anyone quite realized how quickly I had meant to get down here. I think I had underestimated it because I had never been in labor before. I didn't know what to expect. Even every labor is different, so I didn't know how fast the labor would go, how hard it would hit. Someone's tired. Someone's ready for bedtime. He tried to nap on me a little bit ago. And I woke him up from that nap. I didn't let him nap. I had always wanted to I'm gonna let you play with that for a minute. I had always wanted to spend a good portion of my labor in the water. I knew that part. I knew that I wanted a natural labor delivery, and that I wanted a majority of it to be spent in the water, since the water is a natural pain reliever, or can be, depending. Sorry about the shaky camera. I was greatly disappointed when the nurse pointed out to me that usually water is a last resort, because it's one of those, it helps the most, so you want it for when you need it the most. So we were sitting here switching between positions, trying this, trying that, trying on the bed, trying on the floor, because the floor was hard on the knees, but the bed was weirder to be in. I don't know. It was like, it was too soft. Too slippery, I think, with all the cheese and stuff. So we, my sister-in-law ended up running even later because she wasn't coming straight from work. She was having to go do a thing after work. I was like, okay, fine, you know, generally first-time moms are in labor for a total of about 20 hours. Labor had really just started for me, so that should be fine. Not a very big deal. I could handle things until then. I probably about 5 o'clock was like, okay, no, I need the water. Nothing, and I do mean nothing else is helping anymore. I need some sort of something. And I don't think it was really obvious until after I was in the water that my contractions were odd. So if you know anything about contractions and labor, you start a contraction happens, and it gets more painful, and it peaks, and it kind of drifts off, and then you have a break, and then next contraction, rinse, repeat. Mine started that way. Pretty much, you do that, you go through that, and then once you hit transition, which is around 7 centimeters, depending on the mom, you go from having 1 to having 2 or 3 back to back. Like, there is no, it peters off and then it goes back up. Like, peters off and it goes back up. And then you get the break. Mine pretty much started doing that once I hit 5 centimeters, I'd say, probably. It wasn't obvious until I got into the tub pretty wide. I just hit a point where, okay. No, can't have that. Alright, sorry guys, the boy was getting a little difficult. Mine started, I had 2 on top of each other, and 3, 4, and I honestly, looking back, I wish I had noticed this and would start counting. But mine, unlike transition contractions, would have a longer break in between. So I'd have 5 or 6 together, but then I'd have a break for like 5 minutes in between. My problem was that I was so caught up in the, oh my god, when's the next one gonna hit? Because it's back to back to back to back. That's what broke me. It wasn't the pain. I could handle the pain. It was the fact that I was in this constant fear, anxiety of, oh my god, when's it going to freaking happen again? I couldn't even enjoy my breaks. And I was one of those, when I got to that point, I wanted silence. No one could speak. So at 6 o'clock, I had this point of, I need a break. I need something. Anything. I need a break. I'm supposed to be getting a break between contractions, and I'm not. Not between every contraction. So, at that point, I called on the nurse, and I was like, what can I do? I need something. Give me something. I don't want an epidural, but I need something. And she's like, the only thing we can give you besides an epidural is fentanyl. And that doesn't do a lot, and you can only get 1 dose. Basically, the entire point of fentanyl is to give it to you to bring the contractions down long enough to get the epidural. To take the edge off the contractions long enough to get to the epidural, basically. And I was like, I need something. I need anything. And, you know, we just kind of sat on it, and we just kind of managed through. I didn't know how. A few more contractions, a few more sets of contractions. And decided, you know what? I need to breathe. I'm not getting a chance to breathe. I'm supposed to be, you know. I can't. Yeah, it's hard to relax when you're in this constant state of, oh my god, when's it going to stop? When do I get my next break? When I was living in anxiety through the breaks. Hindsight, but I like to tell people about my experience because it's not common. And I know this for a fact because it surprised the nurses. So when I got out, and I had always promised myself that once I hit 7 centimeters, no epidural. At that point, I'm in transition, and there's not enough point to get the epidural when it's only another hour or so until the pushing time. Because transition is supposed to go real fast. They checked me, and I was at a 6. At that point, I'd already gotten the ball rolling, and I was like, oh. Because that was the biggest thing, is when I was in the tub, I was sitting here going, I have to be progressing. I have to be progressing. I really want to check, but if they check and I'm not, I'll be disappointed. So I'm just not going to check. And I kind of wish I had gone for the check and then made my decision. Although quite honestly, once I got out of the water and onto the freaking bed, so they gave me the fentanyl, which, I mean, I guess helped. I honestly couldn't tell you if it did. By the time I hit that point, I was at a 12 on Pain scale. A 12 out of 10 people. Keep that in mind. I don't handle pain very well either, so, you know, take that into effect. And so they gave me the fentanyl through the IV that they had set up, which was another fun adventure. They gave me the, checked in, they started the IV as normal. That's just typical for any mom, whether or not you're being induced, whether or not you're getting C-section, they just always give you an IV just in case. They call it a saline lock, or I think a hep lock, whatever. It's an IV, not a big deal. So they gave it to me, but the gal who did it got it a little close to a valve, which is tender. She pulled it out, but it was still really tender in that spot. So I was like, hey guys, you know, I had it for a few hours. I'm like, you know, can we move it? It's not very comfortable. It kind of hurts, and I can't take Tylenol for it. There's a Tylenol was all I would have needed. So they're like, you know, we can try. And they had 3 different nurses come in. They had a machine which showed a red light to allow them to see where my veins were. And textbook perfect. Blue 3 veins. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm fine. We're perfect here. This, well, uncomfortable, completely tolerable, and before too long, it's not going to make a difference anyway. So, they did that, and then when they were giving me the fluids in order to do the epidural, they had to pump me. They had to give me an entire bag of fluids before they could do the epidural. Because when they give you the epidural, it tends to lower your blood pressure. So they give you fluids to up your blood pressure. So they went to give me the fluids and blew the vein. And so they said instead of having one of the maternity ward nurses try to get a new vein, and it ended up being my hand, on my right hand, the top of it, they brought in an ER nurse. And when she came in, I was getting between contractions. So let me tell you, when you're between contractions, you don't have a care in the world. Like, I could talk normally, like, I acted like this in between contractions at that point. I was chilling out. I was laying in my bed because they gave me fentanyl. I wasn't allowed to get out of bed at that point. And she came in and she was, I guess she kind of looked at everyone else and was like, why'd they call me in for this? And she gets all set up and I give her my hand, and it's crazy how relaxed you can make sure your hands are when you're in the middle of a freaking contraction. I hand her my hand, and contraction hits, and I start screaming, and I'm gripping the edge of the bed, white knuckling it, and she instantly has, oh, that's why they called me in face, from what I understand. Yeah, you're tired, aren't you? So, she was a freaking blessing, let me tell you, because she got it in and done, one shot, all good. So she came in, she did that, they got the bag of fluids through me, which took about an hour, and then I had the anesthesiologist come in, and she was another freaking god blessing. When they first, because they had me, well, I had a pillow, but they have you kind of curl up into the ball, which is interesting to do, by the way, when you're having a giant beach ball belly, in order to get the, needle through your spine. Yeah. I still can't believe I did that. New setting again. So I went to get set to do the epidural, and I contracted it. I was like, yeah, I give up. I was like, yeah, sure. I haven't started yet, so I had to stand to the contraction. The biggest upside ever to having a lot of breaks in between contractions, because I thought I was in between break. I wasn't, turns out. That last contraction hit, I hit a break. She got in, got done. I didn't feel a single contraction after that. That was it. So, yeah, we kept going. They kept checking me. I hit a 10. They're like, okay, cool. They start a timer once they register that you're a 10. For half an hour, because your body naturally, once you hit a 10, for half an hour it kind of takes this break. And then they came back in, and they were getting ready to get everything started for me to start pushing. we're doing some practice pushes, really, in all honesty. And I was like, you know what? I really wanted my hair in braids because I had long hair at that point. And they're like, sure, we can take a break for your sister-in-law to do your hair. Yeah, I postponed pushing to get my hair done. So we did that, and then I spent a little over 4 hours pushing because it was about 11:30 when we started. Here's one at 3:53 a.m. I had some minor tearing, all of it internal, which was great because a lot of moms have horror stories about urinating after they've got the stitches, and I don't have any of that problem really. They ended up having to lower my epidural and give me some Pitocin to bring my contractions further closer together because they were pretty spread out. And my epidural was a little too strong. I couldn't feel a single contraction, which was glorious. It worked beautifully. A little over 4 hours later, he was finally born, caught by one of the nurses. Not delivered. Was caught by a nurse. It was funny. I was really struggling to hold him throughout my contractions because they were really long stretches, and so they decided in between my contraction sets for me to do some short, quick bursts, and that was all I needed. About 5 or 6 of those, and he was out. Which is funny because they thought that the reason he was taking so long was because he was, he had shoulder dystocia. His shoulders, one of his shoulders caught. Turns out that his head was just, he was just slightly crooked, and so his head wasn't quite positioned right. I'm right now switching my phone, so I'm trying to go through the story real fast. But yeah. He's my tiny little babe. Like, subscribe for more quality content. I